Hey folks, Doc here, and welcome to episode 0 of my Let's Play of Obsidian. Now, I don't think I've ever done an episode 0 before, so if you want to skip this, you pretty much can, but I just wanted to use this episode to get a whole bunch of stuff out of the way so that it won't, interfere with the actual gameplay. So, first of all, I guess something I've been promising for a long time, my second introduction. What the hell did that come from? That let his work begin. Where did that song come from? Nobody figured it out. Well, it came from an old Christian children's television show called, what the hell was it called? Colby's Clubhouse. I'll try to remember to put a link to it in the description. Very bizarre show. It featured a roller skating, talking, singing computer. And what I used for my intro, the second intro, was a slightly sped-up version of that. Of course, my first intro was the speed theme song from Teddy Ruxpin. Anyway, let's get down to Obsidian. First, I want to tell you a little bit about the history of the game. Obsidian came out in 1996. It was developed by a company called Rocket Science Games, and it was published by Sega, which was their computer software division. The game is basically a Myst-style adventure game with a couple of main differences. First of all, the graphics were superior for the time, much better than Myst at the time. It actually featured, fully rendered 3D environments, and when you moved from location to location, instead of just being a static image, it would actually show a 3D animation of you going there. I mean, you didn't have, full, 3D control like in a first-person shooter game, but it still was the kind of thing that hadn't been seen before in this incredibly popular genre of first-person puzzle, adventure, point-and-click games. And what I said, and the second difference is that there was really more of a focus on puzzles. Now, you're probably saying, now, what the hell are you talking about? I mean, Myst had a lot of puzzles. Well, yeah, but Obsidian, kind of, you'll explore for a while, and then all of a sudden it's just kind of like, here's a puzzle. Which kind of might make you like the game a bit less. I don't know. I still think that doesn't really detract from it at all. And I played this game, many, many times, it being a very important game from my teenage years. And I've done a trial run of it recently just to get reacquainted with the game, and I've taken notes on how to solve all the puzzles. So you won't have to see, 17 videos of me sitting at the planetary puzzle just trying to hack my way through it. Yeah, you'll see what I mean. So yes, the game was developed by Rocket Science Games and released by Sega in 1996. The music was created by Thomas Dolby. Yes, the Thomas Dolby, the guy who did She Blinded Me with Science. The puzzles were designed by legendary puzzle designer Scott Kim. And the game actually was on 5 CDs. That's how huge it was. Now, I've told you a good deal about the game, so how did it do? Well, the critics fucking loved it. It received nearly perfect grades from all of the computer and video game magazines at the time. PC Gamer, Computer Gaming World, GameSpot, Just Adventure, just to name a few. The various websites at the time were all giving it perfect scores. The critics loved it. And it was very heavily advertised, too, on television and in magazines. The theme behind the ads was, "Your rules do not apply here." And then it would show, like, an egg unbreaking. No, I think the ad was a guy cracked an egg on a frying pan and it resulted in his face crack. There were a whole bunch of weird shit like that. That being said, even though the critics loved it, customers apparently did not, because it sold absolutely terribly. In fact, it sold so terribly that it resulted in Rocket Science Games going out of business, and it indirectly resulted in Sega shutting down its PC software-focused division, Sega. So yeah, that's another reason this game holds such a place in my heart, because it was a wonderful game that everybody loved, but nobody was buying. And it resulted in 2 companies pretty much going out of business. So yeah, enough about that. Now, one thing about this game is at the beginning, it forces you to sift your way through a rather large amount of lore, like videos and text explaining the backstory of the game. Now, this stuff is important for understanding what the hell's going on, so I'm just going to try to sum it up here as best as I can, because on the way, I really don't want to force you to have to read through, the various text files. I mean, you can skim right through them. The game doesn't care if you skim through them quickly, just as long as you open them. And as for the video-based lore, I am going to show that in the game because it's all really cool. So basically, let me just sum up the lore as best as I can. Well, the game takes place in the year 2066, and you control a scientist, a female scientist named Lila, and what you've been working on is this project called Ceres. Now, you've been working on it with your partner, Max. It's implied that Max is also your husband, boyfriend, lover, something like that. Maybe just a close friend. But so anyway, what Ceres is a couple of things together. First of all, it's a satellite that was launched into orbit, and it uses nanobots, nanotechnology, these little nanorobots to repair, was it the ozone layer or the atmosphere? The ozone layer, I believe it was. And at the same time, the Ceres satellite also has an amazing artificial intelligence. So it can, just completely do everything on its own. And one of the things that the lore talks about is whether or not there should be a manual override switch for the artificial intelligence, because, what would happen if the AI goes nuts and decides that all humans should be killed? Typical AI story. So, then the game takes place when Ceres had been launched for a brief period of time. How long had it been in orbit? A year, a month? Not a very long time. So, and everything was going very well, so they decided, the higher-up people decided to give full control over to the Ceres artificial intelligence, so humans were completely removed from the equation. And now, that pretty much sums it up for the background story. The rest of it we'll all get in terms of videos and, of course, from the game itself. And I guess that about wraps it up for this episode 0 of Let's Play Obsidian. I've never done one of these before, and if you stuck through this, how long has it been? It's about 7 minutes. I appreciate it. I think it'll make the game go a lot more smoothly. It'll make the Let's Play more enjoyable. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you in episode 1. Cheers!